Hello, welcome to Monday Morning Matters live broadcast show brought to you by Magnicraft Consulting team, anchored by Niyi Dunmade, a certified church consultant with the Society for Church Consulting in the U.S. Here, each Monday of every week, we address important, relevant, and actionable topics of interest that will help you and your church grow healthier. And now, meet your host, Niyi Dunmade. Hello. Are you aware that 70% of pastors constantly fight depression and burnout for the frustration experienced as a result of ministry workload, discouragement, and pressure? We help leaders grow healthy churches. We are excellent at what we do, and we are fast becoming the best of the very best. Magnicraft Consulting is set up to help both small and large-sized churches become healthier by using proven diagnostics tools, effective retention strategies. We give the right and appropriate and professional advice. We are the certified church consultants with the Society of Church Consulting in the United States of America. Trust us to help you grow. Don't wait till it's too late. You will be glad you did. Call us now on 0802-324-2258. Email contact@magnicraftconsulting.com or magnicraftconsulting@gmail.com. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram @Magnicraft Limited. Magnicraft Consulting, doing church God's way.
Welcome, everyone. Thank you for hooking up with us this morning, Monday Morning Matters. Thank you for hooking up with us on Facebook and YouTube channel to this live broadcast show. It has always been a live broadcast show. 2022 is awesome, and we are so glad that you are hooking up with us. We are so glad that you're part of this live broadcast show. And my name is Niyi Dunmade. I'm the founder and the CEO of Magnicraft Consulting. Magnicraft Consulting is a church consulting firm that helps churches grow healthier through empirical assessment, trainings, and strategic blueprint. I'm also a certified church consultant with the Society for Church Consulting. If I have a double certification from Society for Church Consulting and Church Answers, okay, with quite a lot of certification in helping the church. A big thank you to those who are commenting and liking our posts, sharing our posts, reaching out to me personally. We want to just thank you for giving us your feedbacks, and so we are appreciating you for those like. Please give us a like, give us a share to your community, your church pastors, your church leaders. Drop a comment. I want to hear from you, and I would want to learn from you. I got a new book, Church Retention, Pathway to Growth. Please get this book if you are having issues with your church in terms of growing your church. It's really robust and very, very rich. I've heard a lot of testimonies on how the book has helped them. And so we're going to continue with part 2 of the solid church foundation for your best year ever. 2020 was such a tremendous trying year, and we know that we need to make sure that we build up from the setback the pandemic had brought upon the church. And the Bible says in Psalms chapter number 11 verse 3, if the foundations are destroyed, what can the righteous do? If the foundation are destroyed, what can the righteous do? One of the things that someone will just tell me, oh, Jesus Christ is the foundation, and then you fold up your hands. But you have to build a foundation that can go through any challenge. It's pandemic proof. It can touch every fiber of the church function and the mandate and purpose that the church has. And so last Monday, we dwelt more on some of the things we need to do. And this, and then how you're going to schedule your 12 calendar months with certain aspect to focus on, so that you can actually get a touch on a lot of issues that has to do with your church member or your community. And so today I'm going to move a little bit further on the church health framework that Jim Biber, the former president, Society for Church Consulting in the US, he had a fishbone diagram, and that fishbone diagram has been used by quite a lot of consultants to assess churches, to see how healthy and how they can move towards health. And one of my philosophy is this: if a church is healthy, then there is an easier chance for that church to grow. There's an easier chance for that church to have its peak performance. There's a chance that church begins to be used more by God. And so the church health framework that Jim Biber used is so that I love to explain this in this analogy. As a human being is spirit, soul, and body, the church too has its own spiritual dimension. It has its own soul dimension, and it also has its own body dimension. And so what I'm trying to say is that we need to begin to build foundations for these 12 church functions, so that the purpose and the mandate of the church can be actualized in its fullness. Okay, now the spiritual dimension has to do with worship, fellowship, discipleship, evangelism, ministry, and prayer. That's the spiritual side. And most of these things that I'm sharing are all descriptive nature of the early church, the descriptive nature of the early church that we are now prescribing for today's local church. And so we a church that must make an impact in today's world must be strong and healthy in worship, in fellowship, in discipleship, in evangelism, in ministry, and prayer. You see, one of the things I would say here is that you are not healthy when your spiritual life is intact. Your soul and your body is also very important. And so in Acts 6, when they had quite a lot of growth as a fallout of the top side of the fishbone diagram on the screen, of those 6 church functions, the bottom side has to do with the organizational structure, administrative. Okay, strategy now comes in Acts 6, where they called all the disciples. They had a meeting together. They had restructuring. Okay, the apostles could not begin to lead prayer and the ministry of the word to begin to serve tables. They had to do delegation, because structure actually thrives on delegation. Okay, leaders came on board, the deacons came on board to be able to do some administrative tasks. And then outreach, onboarding. Onboarding is also the same thing as assimilation, and then resources that has to do with finance or asset and liability. Now, these are more administrative or organizational health, as Jim Biber will make his case in the white paper. And so we need to, why I brought this up now, we need to make sure that the foundation, the sure foundation we are making, is to make sure that all these functions are well in their peak. They are built to make sure that all these 12 church functions are performing at their peak. You see, the human body is made up of systems, 12 systems. We have digestive system, reproductive system, skeletal system, nervous system, urinary system. Quite a lot of systems the body has. And see, the systems that the body has in God's wisdom has designed that is the same system that every human being has. And so all these systems must work together if the person needs to be healthy. If one of the system is not healthy, the whole body will not be healthy. Okay, the whole body will not be healthy. As small as your blood vessels are, your arteries or veins are, if there's something wrong with your blood, it affects everything. If there's something wrong with your heart, it affects your entire being. If there's something wrong with your brain, it affects the entire being. So one of the things that we want to also say about church health is that there has to be balance. Okay, balance. Everything, all these things must be balanced. It must be active. It must be intentional, and it must also be aligned. Can you see all the lines are aligned? You see, I've seen churches who want to just build foundations for prayer, and to be candid, they get miracles, they get wonders, they get testimonies. But you see, one of the things that God wants the church to do is beyond miracles and wonders. He wants us to make maximum impact in the community, because the reason why your church is in that community is not by accident. It's to make impact. Okay, it's to make impact. And last Monday I said the church does not exist to entertain the unsaved or to entertain church members. The church exists to train, to mature disciples so that they will go into the community and reach out to the lost and make maximum impact for God. And so that's one of the things. And so when you want to build the foundations for all these church functions, you will need to invest time, money, and create a system. Okay, invest time, money, and resources. Okay, in that sure and solid spiritual foundation for these things. You see, when your church needs to have an excellent worship service, there's a foundation for it. If your church needs to have a warm fellowship, both online and in-person service, there is a foundation for it. If your church needs to have a fantastic discipleship, you need a plan and a foundation for it. If a church needs to be a cutting edge of evangelism, you have to, because if you don't build a foundation for your evangelism, you will call for evangelism and you will not see people coming for evangelism. Ministry also as well, and then prayer as well. You need to invest resources, invest your time, invest your energy, invest everything that we need to make sure that this foundation. You see, one thing about foundation is not seen. But you see, when the storms come, because I will tell you that whether you like it or not, as the beginning of the year 2022 is starting, a time will come that there will be dry season. Expect it. There will be time that there will be raining season. There will be storms. There will be emergencies. There will be good times. There will be bad times. But you see, one of the things about the thing is that once your whatever you are doing in 2022 is actually on a solid rock, it's actually in a solid spiritual foundation. You've invested time, you've invested energy, you've invested money, you've invested resources, then that thing is going to stand the test of time in the year 2022. We also need to inspect our spiritual foundation. Okay, the fact that you have built, I know a lot of churches who are doing a lot of prayer and fasting and doing some strategic planning to make sure that their foundation is sure they are kicking up, starting up well. You need to make sure that you are inspecting your foundation all through the year, evaluating and monitoring that this foundation can carry what you are building. You see, once you get to a point that the foundation cannot carry what you are building, I think it's just waste of time. Keep building on, because you are at the verge of collapsing or destroying or losing the legacy of what you are building. So you need to evaluate, you need to monitor and inspect. And then the other one has to do with what we need to ensure that the foundation remains on a solid foundation. And that's Jesus Christ. You see, one of the things I always want to say, the leader who is a leader of the church is not the leader of the church. You are just an angelos. You are a messenger. Okay? The leader of that church is Jesus Christ. And if you are going to allow Jesus Christ to be the head of the church, he is sure going to be the sole foundation of that church. If we are going to invest in a sure spiritual foundation, we need to look out for God always and completely. We need to be willing to invest time and learn all we can about God throughout the whole year and what we are to build so that the future in 2022 is upon Jesus Christ. God created the heavens and the earth. He spoke everything into existence. We need to understand that the heaven and the earth also has a foundation. And that's why these things All the seasons, the weather, they are standing sure and they are not failing. Okay, because the foundation are sure, they are standing sure in those in how God has created them in strength and quality. Oh, we're running out of time. Okay, so the thing is, I want to be sure that you understand that foundations are things that you do that people do not see. Okay, you do it in such a way that when you do it, people don't see it, but they know. And these are things that you do in the closet. You see, sometimes when you see some church come out and they do fantastic things, they've actually done some things in the closet. They've actually done some things I will call solid foundation. And so because they have a solid foundation, they've ensured that the foundation is remaining in a good condition. They spring out of that solid foundation to start doing some terrific things in the year. But see, one of the things that if your foundation is not is having some weak points, is having some cracks, or it's not done properly, periodically you're going to be addressing possible problem areas in the church. Okay, so you can see all the things I'm showing. If you don't have foundation for all these things, I'm telling you, periodically at times, because one of the things is that the pandemic actually came to expose some weak points in our foundation, with some weak points in the church health status of the church. Okay, we're going to have some possible problem areas and getting outside of our comfort zone to make sure that things are not in their proper shape. And so I'll wrap up here. Every church needs to take advantage of having a solid foundation, having a solid foundation. And so that's what I want to say. You need to make sure that the foundation you are creating is taken away from the effect of the pandemic, and you are building in such a way that your church can begin to flourish and begin to make a maximum impact in the community. So feel free. I got my book, right? Please make sure you get my book. A lot of people have gotten the book. It's making quite a lot of sales. Please get my book, Church Retention. Okay. The Pathway to Growth. All right, Pathway to Growth. It's really well researched, written. Tom Rayner, my mentor, did a forward of that of this my book. And please make sure you get. That's my first book. If you're a pastor, if you're a church leader, you are into first impression. You are into assimilation, discipleship, evangelism, pastoral care of your church. Make sure you get this book. Reach out to me, and then you'll be able to make sure you get that book wherever. And it's on Amazon. If you need to get the book, it's on Amazon. Make sure that you get the book on Amazon. Please feel free to share us on social media handles on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram. Subscribe, please. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, please. Subscribe. Turn on the notification bell so that when we upload a new video, you will be notified so that you don't miss any of our relevant video updates. Okay? That's my number on the screen. We do consultations, we do trainings, we do revitalization. We also help churches set up and draft a kind of strategy blueprint for them to move from where they are to where God wants them to be. If your church or your leaders have any related questions that I've shared in this live broadcast, please reach out to me. I'm always at the back end of all the social media handles to take any question and interact with anybody that wants to engage us in conversation, and sure we're going to begin to bring some answers and solutions your way. Then if this video is helpful to you, please give us a like, give us a share us to your pastor, share us to your church leaders, your community. Drop a comment from us. You've learned from me, but please, I also want to learn from you. All right, I've not said I know everything, even though I'm an expert. I would love to hear from you. I would love to learn from you. So drop us a comment in the comment section what you feel about some of the things that we are sharing, and then we'll be able to interact better. That would be fantastic to hear from you. Till I come your way next week, Monday, with another with a final version of solid foundation that you need to have to kick off your 2022, having it as your best year ever. Till I come your way next week, Monday again, I say bye-bye and God bless you. Thank you.